Hey, happy Friday. This week the EU decided it wants to bring back real replaceable batteries into all of your devices, Intel announced massive changes for its manufacturing business, and Apple decided to sue actual fruit companies over apples. Welcome to the Friday Checkout. This video was sponsored by Skillshare, where you can now watch my very own class. Okay, this week we start the brief with some leaks for the OnePlus V Fold, and interestingly, the shape of this device looks a lot more like that of a Samsung foldable rather than one from Oppo. Also, in case you like small phones, the Asus Zenfone 10 just got leaked with renders via WinFuture. It will apparently stick to the 5.9-inch design, it will keep the headphone jack as well, it will come with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, and it will cost $749. Small-ish phone enthusiasts, rejoice! Next, Qualcomm thinks that you will want to attach a Bluetooth audio dongle to your computer because it just announced a new audio chipset that offers sub-20 millisecond latency. The chipset is called the Snapdragon Sound QC-C3086, and I'll either wait until that gets built into the PC itself, or I will just use a cable, thank you very much. Then, Apple this week released its Vision SDK to developers and detailed the testing process to get apps into the Vision Pro headset, so let the app race begin. And also this week, the FTC sued Amazon for making it super easy to sign up for Prime, but then making it super hard to unsubscribe through alleged use of dark patterns. The best part is that Amazon apparently internally used the term Iliad to describe its own unsubscribe process because Homer's Iliad stretches over 24 books, which was apparently the inspiration for their 4-page, 6-click, 15-option Iliad cancellation process. Nice! Next, Microsoft is hiking the price of the Xbox Series X by around 10%, and Xbox Game Pass pricing is also going up for the first time, though not in the US and not in Japan, but in most other markets. And after Vivo last week, now Realme officially pulled out of Germany too, due to Nokia's lawsuits, so all 4 BBK brands are now officially gone, and other European countries may follow soon too. Next, credible nothing rumors claim that the Phone 2 will start at €729, which is 55% more expensive than the Phone 1, so let's see if they can justify that, while Mukul Sharma just spotted trademark filings that might be pointing at a nothing smartwatch. A transparent smartwatch actually sounds kind of fun. And finally, Google will apparently launch Chromebook X, a branding for Chromebook laptops that meet certain spec requirements and offer higher-end features, kind of like Intel does with the Evo. Okay, that's it for the brief, and for my first story of the week, the EU decided that, you know what, USB-C is not enough, they also want to bring back replaceable batteries. We saw this proposal around batteries first in 2020 from the EU, and that now became a 130-page document that aims to reduce waste as it relates to batteries, especially on phones, but also on laptops and on tablets. The wording here does matter, so let's actually take a look. Any natural or legal person that places on the market products incorporating portable batteries shall ensure that those batteries are readily removable and replaceable by end users at any time during the lifetime of the product, which means that the battery can be removed from a product with the use of commercially available tools without requiring the use of specialized tools unless they are provided free of charge with the product, proprietary tools, thermal energy, or solvents to disassemble the product. So those are the most important words, and the exact guidance will follow soon, but I think this is actually potentially a much bigger deal than USB-C was. Defining what exactly commercially available and specialized tools are might be a little bit of an area of a fight, but my reading is that, like on a Framework laptop or a Fairphone, if the consumer has to use a regular screwdriver to take their device apart to swap a battery, then that would be fine, but they shouldn't have to melt glue and the like, while companies that want a non-standard component, like specialized screw heads, will actually have to ship those screwdrivers in the box, I guess. So this covers phones, laptops, tablets, and even foldables, I presume, which seem like they would become extra challenging, and unlike USB-C, which was kind of becoming the de facto standard anyway, enforcing replaceable batteries goes against pretty much everything that the industry has been doing for the last decade or so. We have seen with the Samsung Galaxy S5 that a phone can theoretically both have water resistance and also a replaceable battery, but that wasn't exactly an elegant solution in that phone, so phone companies will have a pretty tough job ahead of them if they want to manage both. All the big companies are increasingly offering repair options these days, and repairability-focused brands like Framework and Fairphone seem to be on the rise, so I guess the idea doesn't seem completely impossible. Still, unless other countries also decide to demand replaceable batteries, I actually don't find it impossible to imagine that companies like Apple and Samsung would actually create dedicated European versions of their phones, while the rest of the world will get the sleeker but less repairable options. Anyway, early 2027, or 3.5 years from now, is when the law should actually go into force, and of course we'll see plenty of back and forth until then from within the EU, but maybe your iPhone 19 or your Galaxy S27 will have a replaceable battery already. Kind of wild. Okay, and for my second story of the week, Intel is shaking up its manufacturing business in 3 major ways. First, the company confirmed that it is doubling down on Europe and Israel after a lot of back and forth. It said that it will spend over $60 billion to build facilities in Germany, Israel, and Poland. 2 new fabs in Germany are happening thanks to more subsidies for a total cost of 30 billion euros. The Israel plant is expanding with $25 billion of spending, and Intel will also construct a new advanced chip packaging facility near Wrocław, Poland for $7.4 billion, which will help the company build and package chips entirely in Europe instead of having to ship them to Asia. Oh, and packaging refers to the process of attaching the connectors, the housing, and so on onto the actual silicon once that is made, in case you didn't know. And let's see if the company will actually follow through on these promises now. Anyway, the second change is that the company now has a new way to structure its manufacturing business. Intel's manufacturing groups will now each be accountable for a standalone profit and loss for the first time, and they will each have to individually compete with external competitors because the company says that some of its parts have become complacent by relying on guaranteed orders. Now they will all have to compete and perform, and the company projects savings of billions by 2025. And third, last week Intel actually presented some pretty interesting technical breakthroughs that might launch them ahead of competitors like TSMC in terms of technology, if we can believe them, that is. This new tech is called Power Via, and the TLDR is that instead of quote-unquote printing the whole chip design onto silicon from one side, Intel can now print the power delivery parts of the chip onto a separate layer, which they can then attach to the back of the chip. And Intel has apparently demonstrated being around 2 full years ahead of competitors like TSMC with this. Of course, we'll have to see how that all plays out in the end, but these 3 changes for manufacturing actually seem like a pretty big deal overall. Also, a thunderstorm just started outside, so if you see flashes or if you hear anything, that's that. Okay, and for my third story of the week, Apple is taking on actual apples in one of the weirdest trademark stories ever. In a new case in Switzerland, the company is taking on around 8,000 apple farmers that are part of the Fruit Union Swiss, which unsurprisingly has an apple as its logo. Apple, on the other hand, is seeking the exclusive image rights of basically all apples in Switzerland, fighting with a 111-year-old company for the apparent rights to apples everywhere and forever. The director of the union told Wired that their objective is really to own the rights to an actual apple, which for us is something that is really almost universal that should be free for everyone to use. It is unclear if Apple could actually win this case. It had a hard fight to win the trademark for the Apple name in the country a few years ago, and all the details will just take some months in court, but it is just another fight of how crazy Apple likes to get over its logo. The company fought and won tons of legal battles, in large part because many businesses just didn't have the time or money to fight the giant, and probably the weirdest one was Apple taking on Frankie Pineapple, a singer-songwriter. That is some next level vindictiveness. I swear that someone can make a whole video essay about Apple's crazy lawsuits that would do super well with lots of views if the video was done well. And if you think that that someone is you, then you could take my class called Researching and Writing for YouTube, How to Make a Great Video Essay. It's my whole workflow and thinking process that is distilled into a single class that people really seem to love on Skillshare. Or maybe designing a logo to beat Apple is your calling, in which case a class on logo design from the one and only Aaron Draplin is my recommendation, who is an absolute master of this craft. Skillshare has tons of fantastic classes covering everything from creative skills like video editing, design, photography, and more, to other skills like marketing and productivity. There are no ads or distractions on Skillshare, just great learning from really engaging teachers, and a community of thousands of other students to interact with, a way to submit class projects, and more. Skillshare can help you explore new horizons and unlock exciting career possibilities, and best of all, the first 1,000 people to use the link in the description will get a a 1-month free trial while also supporting this show. This video is sponsored by Skillshare, and I'm thrilled to partner with them to bring you this opportunity for growth and learning.